Is up, everybody, and welcome to the new and improved Fantasy Time is No More. Brandon and I would like to welcome you to the Sports Guys. Yes, right down below, our brand new channel. We rebranded, redesigned. We're making changes. We're making moves. Welcome to the Sports Guys. Yes, you guessed it. We're not wearing basketball jerseys for shits and giggles. We are on to basketball now. We're growing. We're expanding. We've done with football. And for those of you who we had an episode, our last episode of football, the audio got absolutely janked. I apologize. It's on me. I'll take responsibility. We did have one more final football episode. However, it may never see the light of day. So we move on, and we would like to welcome you not only to the Sports Guys, but to our brand new show, because we're talking about basketball. The basketball playoffs are upon us, and we have a lot to discuss. So, without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome back. Welcome. Welcome to the brand new show, Meet in the Key. Yes, we are talking about basketball, baby. The NBA playoffs are upon us. All that's left is that little wishy-washy garbage of games in the play-in, the money grab, I guess we can call it, the money grab tournament, because that's all this is. That's all this is. Some things to iron out, but we will get those ironed out, and we will have some solid NBA playoff series. So, welcome. And as always, joining me, one of my best friends, my confidant, my business partner, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm super stoked to discuss hoops. So I'm just glad that, obviously it's good to have a new segment of kind of what we're doing. And we love basketball, I feel like, just as much as football. And NBA playoffs are just an exciting time of the year. I mean, everybody's tuning in, and I'm just taking everything I can get. Like, even if you said some of these trash tournament games, I'm still watching them. I just love basketball. So when it comes to NBA playoffs, a lot of people just watch their own team. I watch every team. I watch all the games. So you're the same way. We always have talked basketball ever since we met back in Portland. And we've been talking basketball, I think, since the day we met. So it's just because the NBA Finals had just ended a little bit before that. So I think, we built our first connection. The first sport that we talked about was basketball. So to go back to our roots and our friendship and kind of just be able to discuss this and just the two teams that we like, the opportunity to them to face each other, it's just going to be just a crazy postseason. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I am definitely excited to get into it, and it's going to be a little bit different, obviously. We're going to be following along all playoffs, where every single week we're just going to drop an episode. We'll talk about kind of the action that happens, and then we'll see what's going on. But now, the first episode, before the series get underway, will always be our picks episode. So, before the series even begin, we're going to choose winners. That way, we stay true to what we say, and we ain't a flip-flopper like Sir Mr. Charles Barkley over there. No offense, Chuck, but we don't like flip-flopping. We ain't fish out of water over here, okay? We are fish in water, and we want to swim majestically, all right? So, we're just going to break down, very simple, the series, give you some of our thoughts, analysis, breakdowns, picks, expectations, what we think is going to happen in this NBA playoffs. And it's setting up to be a very, very good tournament, or I guess just basically who's gonna get to the championship. It's very wide open this year. I mean, obviously we can narrowcast it to two teams, but at the end of the day, it is still very, very wide open. So we're going to break it all down, and we're going to go through each conference, the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and we are going to talk about it. So without further ado, let's just get into the action, starting with the Eastern Conference. Let's talk about the series that we already know, and then we can back it up to the series that is still yet to be decided. So what we do know is that we have the Celtics taking on the Atlanta Hawks. We have the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Brooklyn Nets. And then we have the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the New York Knicks. Let's start with the series that are already in play. So we got, first up, we got the Atlanta Hawks, the 7 seed Atlanta Hawks, traveling up to Boston. Not for the Boston Beans, not for the lobster rolls, but to take on the Boston Celtics. Some thoughts, some expectations. What do you have for me on this series? And then wrap it all up with games and winner. Give it to us.
Yeah, no, super excited. This week can't go by any quicker. Can't wait to get to Saturday to watch my team. It just feels weird not, just watching all 82 games this season. I will say this is the first time I think in 3 years that I was able to work my work schedule around and kind of just get off, because the Celtics, like a lot of people don't know, but it's tough being a Celtics fan because the games are at 4:00 a lot of the times. They're an East Coast team, so if you're a Warriors fan or a Kings fan, a lot of those games, a lot of them, obviously they have their East Coast games, but a lot of those games are at 7 or 7:30. So to be able to work my schedule just with the busy job that I have, to be able to watch all 82 games and to figure out a way with holidays and traveling and all that stuff, to be able to watch every game was definitely just awesome for me. So and just being able to watch every game, you don't go a week without watching your team play, because even when we win a week, we still have the All-Star game. So I still get to watch Jalen and Jason. Super stoked for Saturday. To be honest with you, the play-in game, I'm not surprised. I mean, here's the thing. It was a pretty close game. The Heat fought back. We knew that the Heat, they're not a team that's going to go away. The thing about the Miami Heat is they're very, very physical. The reason why I wanted to play Atlanta is because I feel like there's less of a chance for our players to get injured. I think that they play very quickly, but they're not physical. Miami gets into you. They like to force the contact. They like to get into the paint. They like to really make you work. They send lots of bodies at you. They're very physical. So I'm just glad we're not playing Miami. But I'm not going to sit back and say that it's going to be a walk in the park against Atlanta, because they do have DeJounte Murray, they do have Trae Young, which are two very good stars. They have some length. You know what I mean? They have some players that can, Clint Capella. They got people that can rebound the ball and can do well in the interior. So I was pretty impressed by what I saw against Miami, but Miami's not that good of a team. So I'm not very concerned about Atlanta. I will say that sometimes the Celtics play down to their talent, so it's just like I don't want to see that. I want to see consistency. I expect everybody's healthy this year. So I mean, going into round 1 last year, Rob Williams wasn't healthy. Going into some of those series, Tatum was banged up a little bit. Miami, Tatum got banged up in that Miami series. And so did Marcus Smart. So to have everybody healthy, and then to also add Malcolm Brogdon, I do like. And then Derek White seems to be really, really proving himself this year. I feel like he would be a starter on almost any other team. I mean, he's been wonderful. So to have Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White coming off the bench, that's huge. So I just like our depth in this series. I do think that, obviously having home court and having a full week of rest is huge. Atlanta's got to travel. They just had a game yesterday. We've been chilling, you know what I'm saying? And, sometimes you can come out with a little bit of rest, but you know how it is in TD Garden. I mean, you were there. The atmosphere is alive. So I fully expect us to win this series. I do think we're going to win this series 4-1. I do think that Atlanta is going to sneak one at home, but I don't see this going beyond 5 games. And if it does, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be a little surprised, but if somehow it got past 5 games, I don't see it getting past 6. So I am going to say that the Boston Celtics advance to the next round. They win this series against the Atlanta Hawks 4-1.
Yeah, the Celtics coming in were in that race with Milwaukee the entire season for that number 1 seed, just missing out on that top seed, the best record in the NBA by 1 game. So that could prove to be more important later on. But as of right now, the Celtics, they definitely look like the most complete team out there, basically the entire season. They look like they were ready to go. Jaylen Brown taking that next step, being kind of the star there, almost basically taking that Michael Jordan quote back to when he found out that he was basically on the trade block. He took that personally, and he came up and he definitely balled out the entire season, right? Making the All-Star team, being essentially 1B on that team. No longer number 2, definitely 1B. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you can interchange, right? Jason Tatum having essentially what would look like an MVP season, aside from obviously Embiid and Jokic, but Jason Tatum having as good a season as Jokic, as Embiid, leading his team to the number 2 seed, 1 game behind Milwaukee, right? Jason Tatum has taken steps up. Let's see what happens, right? That's what you were pointing out. That's what you were making the point to, that the physicality of the Miami Heat, the physicality of the Bucks series last year, the physicality of that Heat series, Jason Tatum basically playing with a broken shoulder. So there are a lot of things that are left to be seen, but right now, opening up against the Atlanta Hawks is not the worst thing in the world. Now, we say that, and then the Hawks could come out and definitely out-physical them. At the same time, though, definitely the Hawks and the Heat are built differently. They are not built as the same physical team. The Hawks are more finesse in terms of Trae Young. Trae Young doesn't want to get physical with you. He wants to finesse you, either get around you, layup, three-pointer. Same thing with DeJounte Murray. He basically wants to kill the rim. So he's going to attack the rack. He's going to basically do what he needs to do, get layups, get jump shots. You have their tall guys who are going to get rebounds, but Clint Capella has never been Mr. Physical. He has never been the guy that you've been afraid of. So I do think that this series definitely benefits the Boston Celtics. Initially, we'll see what happens. I do think the series, I'm going to give this series a 6-game series. I do think the Celtics get it done in 6. I think that they win the series in Atlanta, and I do think I think the Celtics, this will be what they need to kind of springboard them into the next series. Going 6 games, round 1, definitely not the worst thing. Get basketball, keep playing basketball, because the next round, it's definitely going to get more and more intense as the tournament, as the playoffs go on. So I do think that the Celtics rather easily dispatch the Atlanta Hawks from the playoffs. I'm going 6 games, though, but Celtics get the job done. Our next series that is set in stone, we got the Brooklyn Nets. And man, oh man, could you have had a reality TV show centered around this team, and it would have been amazing. Because what a season, from having Steve Nash fired, from trading Kyrie, from trading KD, from leaving Ben Simmons all by himself, to then somewhat turning around the season with their new interim coach, then getting Mikal Bridges, who's Mr. Consistent, Mr. I like to play basketball, Mr. Consecutive games over here, and he just starts going off. So the Brooklyn Nets, very, very, very interesting story. Missed out on the playing game by 1 game. So that is huge. Huge, getting that rest, not having to play. So the Brooklyn Nets will be traveling, not very far, to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers, who could possibly have the league MVP this year in Joel Embiid. What do you got for me on this series? Picks and games at the end.
Yeah, I mean, Like you said, Joel Embiid's on a tear this year. He's had a good season. To me, I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is the MVP. I mean, they had the best record. He's the best player on the best team. That's how I look at it. Where would the Bucks be without Giannis? Certainly wouldn't be the number one seed and the best team in the NBA. So, me personally, if I'm putting my vote, and I have as a sports writer one day, hopefully I would cast my vote on Giannis. But Embiid certainly had a good year, so you can make an argument for him. Philly, pretty easy matchup for him, I think. I think that what it comes down to is the Brooklyn Nets kind of inherited a pretty good record from Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving when they were there. They went on they had like a 16, 17 game win streak. So, must be nice. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, Mikal Bridges, good player. They have some pieces there. Claxton. I think that they may, keep some of these games tight. But I do think, having James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, which I'm not too big on. I think I've always thought he was overrated, but he can make shots. I think that, they're going to skate pretty easily in this series. So, I'm going to go ahead and pick Philadelphia in this one. Also, gentlemen sweep 4-1. I do think some of these games are close, but I do think the 76ers go ahead and close out the Brooklyn Nets in 5 games, 4-1.
Yeah, the Sixers definitely look solid this year, also competing for that number one seed all season long, nipping at the Celtics' heels, nipping at the Bucks' heels, making those games very interesting. Celtics, although taking that season series, I believe the Bucks also took that season series. The Sixers, very, very interesting. The Sixers are really known for kind of heartbreak in the playoffs, whether it be Kyrie basically making Joel Embiid cry, or last year where they had all this hype around them and then they get bounced. So,
or the shot by Kawhi Leonard. Remember the Raptors?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kawhi making him cry, making Joel Embiid
cry. Kawhi. Oh, yeah. That's what I was thinking
2019.
Of too.
All the Sixers know is heartbreak, basically.
Yep.
So, we will see what happens. James Harden, right? We know what happens when the lights shine the brightest. He kind of folds up shop and disappears. So that's going to be one thing to watch. Joel Embiid, I believe, is just going to do what Joel Embiid does, which is essentially just dominate. So it's basically going to be those other guys on the Sixers. Can they step up and basically provide Joel Embiid some much-needed assistance to make a playoff run? So, although Mikal Bridges, although this guy Cam Thomas, who you will definitely find out about when this playoffs come for the Brooklyn Nets, the Brooklyn Nets are just a bunch of kind of who's who, right? They're just a bunch. Ben Simmons, I can't believe could possibly play in the playoffs. He's definitely not playing against Philadelphia. That's for sure. No, not a chance. Are they sending that man out there?
Shouts out to Philadelphia. You took Ben Simmons over Jaylen Brown, and you took drum roll, Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum. Yeah. You guys could have those two players with Joel Embiid. Then it would be a complete 2 for $5 KFC chicken wrap. It would be completely over if you had those two players.
True.
But shouts out to Philly for botching those picks, because now yours truly gets the players that you wish you would have.
Yeah, the Celtics were notorious for trusting the process, and the process took a lot longer than I think they actually wanted it to. So I got the Sixers, Doc Rivers pulling this one out. I think it's going to be another 6-game series. I do think the Nets take 1-1 again. And I got the Sixers handling business. It would be on the road, but they're going to handle business in this series. 4-2, Sixers advance to the next round. Our next set in stone series, we got, and this one should be a grinder. We got the New York Knickerbockers. Yes, the New York Knicks traveling to Ohio, traveling to Cleveland.
Your favorite city.
What's in Cleveland?
That's your what are you talking about? That's your favorite city.
Don't make me get on a plane right now. We're trying to record this video, okay?
That's your city.
That's my city, just like Los Angeles is your city, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers.
You better watch that mouth.
Getting the 4 seed. Donovan Mitchell, the brand new asset, delivering big time.
Get over here. Get over here so I can wash your mouth out.
Oh, yeah.
LA, my city.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom Thibodeau, New York Knicks, traveling to Cleveland, take on the Cavaliers. Kind of a toss-up. What do you got for me?
Not much of a toss-up in my opinion. The Knicks kind of faltered towards the end of the season, Jake. The Knicks are a good team, but I just feel like, what happened with I know there was a lot of hype around Emmanuel Quickley, and I think it's sports writers doing that. He's a good player, but the sixth man of the year should clearly be Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah. He was the most efficient player off the bench. So Quickley definitely gave them a spark, but without Malcolm Brogdon, we may be in the fifth spot. We may be in the fourth spot.
Yeah.
He came in off the bench, and he has settled down that second team and really, really commanded, that offense as far as with, everything that was going on with Jalen getting hurt, to Tatum missing games, to Marcus missing games, not Tatum, to Marcus missing games, to Robert missing games. So to come off the bench, but back to Quickley, he is a good player. They have Jalen Brunson. They got, they've got pieces there. So it's Julius Randle's a good player. I don't think that it's going to be a cakewalk for the Cavs in any way, but I think, obviously Donovan Mitchell's having a great year. Yeah. That was a really big pickup for the Cavs to add him because they went from, play-in to playoffs, and they are now,
good point.
They had home court in the first round, and it was the first time since LeBron. So, good for the Cavs. We'll have to see. But I do think that the Cavaliers have enough here. I do think that this is going to be a heck of a series. I think that we're going to have some really close games. But I do think that the Cavaliers escape from this series. I do think they win this one in 6, though. I don't think it's 5. I think that it's 6. It has the potential to go 7. But I just think the Cavs are just on a little bit, higher of a level than the Knicks. So maybe next year for the Knicks, I think they're building something good. Surprised that they were 5th seed for sure.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson was a huge pickup for them. We see where Dallas is now. They're not even playoffs. Dallas would have kept Jalen Brunson. Shoot, Dallas may be seed. So, Knicks seem to be turning things around. Good for them. It's been a long time. I know that they're a Celtic rival, not a rival to me. I mean, I've never seen us lose to the Knicks. So, but any big games to the Knicks. But shouts out to the Knicks. They had a really good season, but I do think that Cleveland ends it in 6.
Yeah, I this series is going to be very, very, very good, I think. And that you brought up a very good point. Donovan Mitchell, what an addition, right? What an addition. You take a team that was a play-in team last year, boom, you make them a solidified playoff team. So that is definitely a solid addition in the offseason. Another one you pointed out, Jalen Brunson, right? Kyrie Irving is the killer of culture. He is the killer of culture. He is the culture vulture. He will literally pick your shit dead until there is nothing left, and then he'll pack up his bag and he'll go do it to somebody else.
He did it to us.
Yeah.
He did it to us. I'll come back if you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, just ironically, hey, he said before the season started, if you guys will have me back next year, and then he caused all this crap with our team and our front office, and it's just, like you said, he is the team killer. Yeah. You called it before anybody.
Yeah, he's the culture vulture, man. He will literally ruin your team. And Dallas, man, just goes to show, pay the man. Pay the man. When you have somebody who wants to be loyal, pay the man. Jalen Brunson had no reason to go anywhere until you disrespected him. And then he showed you why he was worth all that money. New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau back into the playoffs again. Tibbs. We'll see if he's able to do anything with this team, right? Very competitive Bulls team back in the day. Let's see what he can do with this team, right? The Knicks, Julius Randle, got to reel him in. His attitude is definitely can be the downfall of this team if he can't control it. But yeah, I mean, you got Emmanuel Quickley, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. You got a bunch of other pieces there that can definitely produce. and make shots, score points, and keep you in games and win games, frankly. So the Knicks, New York has definitely something to be excited about. And the Knicks, I believe, Cleveland definitely has something to be excited about. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is pretty funny to say without LeBron, but the Cleveland Cavaliers definitely look like the real deal out there. Definitely 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll be honest, look very solid. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the Eastern Conference. Very, very, very solid teams. Everything else below that, we'll see what happens. Definitely a toss-up. But I think this series is going to go 7 games because I do think the Knicks are going to pull out that Game 6 at home. I think the Garden's going to be electric. I think the Knicks will be on fire. And I definitely think this is going to go back to Cleveland for an exciting – one of these series has to go to 7 – for an exciting end to the first round between the Knicks and the Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to pull it out at home, Game 7. And move on to the second round of the playoffs, but have a very thrilling series with the New York Knicks. Our last series that we have to talk about, I told you we'll come back to it. We got the Milwaukee Bucks and the yet-to-be-decided Miami Heat, or the team that just pulled off a 19-point comeback, the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls pulling off a massive comeback against the Toronto Raptors, sending them out of the playoffs, sending Chicago to Miami. So we got Chicago Bulls versus Miami to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. Winner of that game doesn't really matter. I think both of us have the same thoughts on what's going to happen. So our Milwaukee Bucks versus our 8th seed. Give it to me.
Yeah, so I think what we should do is pick the team that we think is going to win.
Okay.
On Friday, and then pick the series. So
okay, so we got the Chicago Bulls versus the Miami Heat. Who you going with?
I'm going with Chi-Town.
Okay.
Chi-Town, I just feel like Miami's out of gas, man, and they just seem like it has been a rough year for them. So with that momentum that Chicago just did, and then for some reason, Patrick Beverley. Back again, man. He is the play-in guy. He's that play-in guy. So for some reason, I just think that we're gonna have some tears from Patrick Beverley, and they are going to be playing the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'll keep it short with this one. I do think the Milwaukee Bucks will win that series 4-1.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Chicago to go on the road again, for going from Canada all the way down to Florida. Good thing is it is on the East Coast, so it's not that long of a flight. That is good. We shall see. Chicago versus Miami. Definitely a toss-up. We're going to go with, does Jimmy Buckets come to play, or does mean Zach LaVine show up again? DeMar was ripping towels. Zach LaVine's the one who put that team on his back. We're going to go with the Windy City, Chicago. We're going with Chicago Bulls to go on the road, go on this run on the road, go from Toronto to Miami to Milwaukee, go up, down, back, right, left, right. It's just all over the place. But the Chicago Bulls will be in the playoffs. The Milwaukee Bucks will dispatch of them very easily. I'm going sweep 4-0. Milwaukee Bucks move on to the next round. Handle business very, very, very easily. That's your Eastern Conference. Moving on to the Western Conference. The matchups that we know about, let's go through them. We know about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers. We know about the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors. We know that the Phoenix Suns will take on the Los Angeles Clippers, and for the first time in NBA history, all 4 California teams have made the playoffs. Never has happened before. First time ever. Very, very cool. Let's not waste any time. And then we have the number 1 seed, Denver, taking on either Minnesota or... They're in commercials, so I can't give you a score update. Minnesota, New Orleans, or Oklahoma City. We'll see what happens. But let's start with a series that we do know. We got the Los Angeles, the Lake Show, the Lakers, coming back and beating the Minnesota Timberwolves last night to seal the 7th seed. They will be traveling to Tennessee, to Memphis, to take on the mighty, mighty cocky Memphis Grizzlies. What do you got for me?
Superstar Ja Morant. We got the Memphis Grizzlies, man. They're about to come through. I can't roll with the Lakers. I think that they're still that bubble. They think that this is the bubble or something. So you're not going to go. I mean, the Memphis has been a solid team all year. So you're not going to go from barely beating the Timberwolves without, your boy Rudy Gobert, that retread team, to going into all of a sudden, we're going to beat Memphis with Anthony Day-to-Day Davis. No. It's funny because he's so clumsy and he just gets these stupid fouls. They're a weak team. I don't have anything. I just think, okay, LeBron's good, but can he do that for 6 or 7 games? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. And he can prove me wrong. He's done it before, but this guy's 4-6 in the finals. If Ray Allen doesn't make a shot, there's no bubble. And, Draymond Green doesn't get suspended. Does he have only 1 ring? I don't know. But what I'm saying is it takes a lot for this guy. And here's my thing. Memphis is built to beat this team. The Lakers, I'm saying. So I'm going to take Memphis in this one. I will give some respect to LeBron and say it goes 6. But it would be ridiculous for me to pick the Lakers. I'm going with Memphis, 4-2. You got Dylan Brooks. You got really physical players that are going to be pests. And the Lakers and LeBron does not like pests. He does not like pests. He doesn't like people up in his business. He doesn't like the physicality. He doesn't like that stuff. And so, and then you got Jaren Jackson, just potentially the defensive player of the year as a rim protector against Anthony Day-to-Day Davis. I could go on and on and on. Desmond Bane. They have bench players that are solid. Give me the Grizzlies, man. 4-2. I think they run them out of their own building in Game 6.
It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. But if you read the NBA bylaws, it is in there on page 27, Article 6, Paragraph 4, line number 1. The NBA playoffs, especially the first round, must always have LeBron winning. And yeah, the bylaw was broken once.
What happened when Dallas bounced out Kobe?
Hey, the bylaw was broken once, but there's not a chance that Memphis makes it out of this series. I'm sorry. LeBum, he's just going to get what he wants. He's going to get what he wants, and there's not a chance in hell that Adam Silver lets his golden boy, his prized possession.
His golden boy is Steph Curry. We're done with LeBron now.
If that was the case, Steph Curry would get every foul call.
The Lakers would have made the playoffs last year. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Steph Curry would get a lot more foul calls if he was the NBA golden boy.
He's a golden boy now.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
LeBron James.
The moneymaker is Steph Curry, bro.
LeBron
the moneymaker
James.
Steph Curry.
Until LeBron retires, he is the NBA.
Nope.
He is
Steph Curry now.
the NBA.
Steph with the shot now.
When Steph wins this year, then we can have that conversation. Until then, the NBA is going to do everything in their power to help the Lakers win, just like we saw last night with the Lakers having 19 free throws in the fourth quarter and overtime.
But did the NBA say, okay, Timberwolves, miss 6 minutes worth of shots? If they would have just hit some of their shots, that's the Wolves' fault.
I agree.
Anthony Edwards. I feel like the NBA was trying to help the Wolves out in certain parts of that. I'm just saying.
Not the free throw line.
But I'm just saying, look at the last call at the end of the game, giving them those 3 free throws. Yeah. I'm saying, how do you not hit a shot in 6 minutes?
You also need to get calls. You understand that those 3 free throws at the end of the game was the last. Those were the only free throws that the Timberwolves shot in the fourth quarter and in overtime. They may have missed shots for 6 minutes, but they sure as hell were fouled in those 6 minutes, not called.
The NBA wants Memphis versus Golden State so bad. No. There is no way that they're going to make it Golden State versus Golden State will run them. I'll say this right now.
I would love to see that.
Golden State plays the Lakers. Golden State sweeps them. Sweeps them.
That would be great. We'll get there if that does happen, because that would be phenomenal. I can definitely tell you that. That would be great. I would love that. I think everybody would actually love that, aside from the quote-unquote Los Angeles Laker fans, right? Because we fully expect Crypto.com Arena to be packed with just the most loyal fans that you've ever seen. They've been going to games all season. They pay money all season. They watch every game. They're so involved.
I will say this. I know a few, nothing against the few diehard Laker fans that I do know that I've known my whole life. That, like, there's nothing. I'm just saying, the fans in LA are very flaky. I feel like the LA Lakers fans that have the best fans are outside of LA.
Oh, we know that we know that arena is going to be empty in that first quarter. It will be full in that second or third quarter, because everybody wants to be fashionably late. To watch the LA Lakers, right?
Yep.
With that being said, the Los Angeles Lakers upset the Memphis Grizzlies 4-2 to move on to the second round. And again, it's kind of the same thing in the Western Conference, whereas I feel that the 1, 2, and 3 seeds are definitely very solid. Phoenix, you can kind of teeter-totter them in there, but I do think that Denver, Memphis, and Sacramento, those are your solid teams. However, it does come down to matchups. It does come down to who is going to guard LeBron. Nobody on the Memphis Grizzlies is going to be able to guard LeBron. Nobody. It's just not going to happen. And until I see it happen, I'm going to choose to believe that the Los Angeles Lakers definitely win this series. And we'll see some questionable calls. We'll see some stuff.
Who do you want to win, though? Who do you want to win?
Well, neither. I don't like the Memphis Grizzlies.
No. If you had to pick, who would you rather lose? Who would you rather lose? If you had to pick a team.
Grizzlies all day. Dylan Brooks needs to shut his mouth. He's a loser. This dude will never do anything. Dylan Brooks is a loser.
So here's the thing. So hold on. So I get it.
Brooks is a loser.
I get it. You're really on the Draymond train. I get it. You're a Warriors fan. So let's just take that out of it. And let's say this: who would you rather?
Dylan Brooks deserves nothing.
Who would you rather win an NBA title? The Lakers or the Grizzlies?
Well, neither.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So now it comes down to who would you rather win a championship this year? The Lakers or the Grizzlies?
Oh, Lakers all day. Grizzlies, I don't want them to win anything.
And have the most titles, and then they're saying LeBron's better than Jordan. All this stuff. You want that more coverage? No,
I'd rather want that more than having to hear the Grizzlies' mouths for the rest of my life. I would so much prefer that than to think that Dylan Brooks
real estate that they have in your head.
No, than to think that Dylan Brooks is at anywhere a factor. This dude is a factor because he literally flaps his gums. That's all Dylan Brooks does. Flap, 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 flap. That's all John Morant does. Flap, 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 flap. That's all Jaren Jackson does. Flap, 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 flap. They don't do anything. And until they beat the Warriors, they don't mean anything.
I still think they're good players. They're very young, but I think they're good players.
Let's take the players, but they flap their gums.
Okay, no, I agree. I agree with that, but let's talk about their game. I'm not talking about their personalities, because then I can get into the Warriors.
They got
Lakers.
Solid games. They're good. They're good. But I'd much rather have the Lakers win and deal with those storylines and all that just garbage than ever have to hear a single storyline about the Memphis Grizzlies being NBA champions. I don't want Memphis. There are a few teams that I don't want absolutely to have zero success, and obviously they play each other, Memphis and LA. Obviously, I don't want either of those teams to have any success. If they both could lose, I would be much more just option possibility. I would much rather have that happen than have one of these teams advance and potentially squeak into the next round,
They
squeak into that
would
third round.
never, if the Lakers won the title this year, coming from the play-in, and won it this year, that they would never stop talking about that for the rest of their life. I would rather hear about the Grizzlies 1 year that they got it over the hump, they won it 1 year, than hear about the Lakers came from a 7th seed and LeBron is holy grail. Like, we need to go to church and pray to him. I would rather hear that, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Dillon Brooks. I'm saying that Ja Morant and Dillon Brooks are good players. I never said I'm a fan of theirs.
Yeah.
But I would rather see them get a title than hear about LeBron being the next coming of Jesus Christ. Because ESPN, Sports Center, NBA TV, TNT will not stop talking about. They talk about the Lakers more than they talk about the Bucks, Celtics, and Warriors combined.
Yeah.
And those, in my opinion, are the 3 best teams in the NBA. They talk about those 3 players more than they talk about LeBron more than all 3 of those teams. I'm tired of it.
If both of those teams could lose, that would definitely be the option. That would definitely be the option that I would take. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very good series. I think it can be a competitive series. It could also be just an absolute bulldozer, depending on how these teams come into this game. Game 1 is going to be important. I do think the Lakers steal game 1. Game 1 is usually the easiest game to steal. If you're going to steal a game, game 2, usually you're kind of set and you're ready to go. You're not really kind of expecting anything that you weren't expecting in game 1. So I do think game 1, for all these teams that absolutely need to at least win one game on the road, game 1 is going to be your game. So I do think that the Lakers do take game 1. I do think that it's going to take the Grizzlies a few games to get going. However, I mean, we saw them last year, right? We know what they have. Desmond Bane, right? Dillon Brooks, Ja Morant. Steven Adams is not going to be there, though. That is massive. Not having Steven Adams, not having Brandon Clark, 2 pieces that they did have last year. Very, very, very big. That could potentially be a big thing for them, because now their bench is less. Now,
but at least they got Ja, though.
They got Ja. They got the kid Kenny Lofton Jr.
They got Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, they got Jaren Jackson. They just signed the kid Kenny Lofton Jr.
Oh,
from the G League.
Yeah,
from the G League, right? The G League Rookie of the Year. So we'll see what happens. I'm very interested to see what happens in this series in particular. This is going to be one of the more exciting series, I believe. And if LeBron loses, I'm thinking that he's going to start making his departure out of LA. I think he's going to finally figure out his way to get to Oklahoma City with his son Bronny, and then we'll see what happens when that happens.
Oh yeah, because we've all said that from the beginning. Yeah, we all know where Bronny's going with their 25 draft picks.
Yeah, their 1,000 draft picks that they have. So I mean, one of them is going to land Bronny. So we'll see what happens there.
We got Chet coming back next year too. So adding Bronny,
yeah, it's going to be
out for OKC, because they're
2 more years. Solid. Yeah, 2 more years. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be very, very, very interesting. And if LeBron, he played at an incredibly high level for his age this year, no sense to think that he can't keep it going for at least 2 more years. And then he can kind of slow it down once Bronny comes into the league, right? So we'll see what happens. Los Angeles Lakers, though, Memphis Grizzlies, going to be a very, very, very tight series. Our next series, we got the Golden State Warriors, who were the worst road team, or were one of the worst road teams this season. They had a road record as bad as the Pistons, the Rockets, and the Spurs, the 3 worst teams in the NBA. Somehow managed to get that 6th seed, almost was able to get the 5th seed, but the Los Angeles Clippers were able to win that last game against the Phoenix Suns. So we got the Battle of Highway 80. We got the Golden State Warriors traveling up Highway 80. For those of you who don't know, that's the main highway you take from Sacramento to the Bay Area. We have the Golden State Warriors traveling up Highway 80 to take on the Sacramento Kings, baby. Yeah, you're right. I did not stutter. I said it. The Sacramento Kings. Yeah, in the playoffs. First time, 17 years. Sacramento Kings. What do you got for me?
Yeah, this is going to be just one for the books, man. Crazy. Northern California. Stand up. I mean, Highway 80 series, something that, I don't think it's ever happened in the history. And this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
The Kings, they got a really tough, that's a tough environment to play there at Gold One. I was there. I've been there for multiple games. Jake's been there.
Yeah.
Kings fans are for real. They're not bandwagoners. They've been around. Kings fans, I've lived up here for almost 6 years, and I've seen nothing but Kings stuff everywhere. I mean, even when their team was like in last place,
Yeah.
Kings fans are for real. I mean, they love their team, and I'm excited for them. I think it's an exciting time for Northern California.
Oh, yeah.
I think Warriors fans are excited to see it. Kings fans are excited to see it. I don't think anybody else wanted anything else in the first round. This is what I wanted. I thought this was going to be a heck of a series. So here's my thing. You got Mike Brown, assistant coach with. I mean, there's a lot of blood here, man.
Yes,
There's
a lot of ties. Yep.
A lot of ties. And Mike Brown, give this man coach of the year. I mean, the Kings,
Facts.
no playoff appearance in 17 years.
Yep.
Mike Brown, coach of the year. Just unbelievable. Domantas Sabonis, just top rebounder, just such a good big man.
Yeah.
Just anybody would love to have this guy. Then you got De'Aaron Fox, who's a really good, a star point guard. And you got other pieces. I mean, you got players, Harrison Barnes that won a championship. So you have some championship pedigree that is playing, and you also have a coach as an assistant on multiple titles with the Golden State Warriors. So you have ties to the Warriors, and it's going to be a hell of a series. And obviously, you're talking about the 4-time champs. You got Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. That core is still intact.
Yeah.
You got Andrew Wiggins coming back. I mean, I think he's going to be a little rusty, but just to have him come in, just be there off the bench will be solid. This is going to be a heck of a series. But
I think so too.
Steve Kerr, I think it was six runs, 14. He's had, I think it was, I'm trying to do the math. I think it was like 14 Western Conference series or 15 Western Conference series. He's never lost one as a coach.
Yeah.
He lost
Yeah.
in the finals to an Eastern Conference team twice.
Yep.
So until somebody does it, I just can't pick against it.
Yeah.
So Warriors were my pick to go to the NBA Finals, and I'm going to stay with it. I do think that they go to the NBA Finals, so obviously here I got to pick them. I do think it goes 7. I think that it's going to be a 7-game series because I think the Warriors struggle on the road, but I do think they get it finally done on the road in Game 7 in a nail biter. Just an unbelievable Game 7 at Golden One Center. Anything that everybody could want to happen here in Northern California. They will get it 4 games to 3. The Warriors will take that.
Yeah, that arena is going to be on fire. Like, man, Golden One is going to be absolutely electric. That Game 1 is probably going to be one of the loudest games probably in NBA history. I mean, 17 years, all those bottled up emotions. That arena, you are right on the action. So, man, this is going to be very interesting. But like you said, the Warriors, Steve Kerr, almost coming up on 10 years, which is crazy to think. But we're at 8 years right now. And 8 years, never has lost a Western Conference series other than that stupid play-in.
Doesn't count.
Exactly.
Doesn't count.
Other than that stupid play-in that, it's just garbage. Stupid. Steve Kerr has never lost a Western Conference series. That is incredible. The core, Steph, Klay, and Dre, since Steve Kerr has been in charge, has also never lost a Western Conference series, which is crazy to think. All 4 of them are still together. That is experience. The experience is the most important thing when it comes to playoffs. Championship DNA, they have it, all of them. And now you're adding Wiggins. You add other pieces. I know the bench was struggling at some points. The bench is coming on at the right time. The Warriors and the Kings, definitely a very interesting series. I wanted the Kings to get that number 2 seed because I didn't want them to play the Warriors. I would have loved to see the Kings make it out of the first round. They deserve it. That the fan base deserves it. The crowd deserves it. But yes, I fully expect the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Dante DiVincenzo, Jerome. Who else we got? The Trash Man, Kevon Looney. I fully expect them all to show up. You know, Kevon Looney has now been on this team as well for multiple championship runs, so he also has that experience as well. He kind of fades into the background because he's Mr. Quiet. We call him the Trash Man because that's all he does. He just cleans up the garbage around the rims. If you look at this guy's rebounding numbers, they are everything that I've ever wanted for a Warriors player. He's blossomed into a beautiful rebounding machine, and if we were smart enough, we would have realized not to draft James Wiseman, use that pick on another useful player, but we didn't. We wasted on James Wiseman, and he's now in Detroit, and he's going to blossom into a good big man because that's what he needed. He just needed time to blossom. Warriors don't have that. I don't know what the hell we were doing, but whatever. Kevon Looney, I'll take it, man. I will take it. Golden State Warriors handle business in 6 games. They got to win it at home. Road is terrible. If it goes to 7, definitely I do think favors the Kings, although the Golden State Warriors have that experience for sure. That is not even a question. Golden State Warriors handle business in 6 games. Moving on to the second round. Our next series that we have, or our last solidified series, we got the Phoenix Suns. Let me back up there. We got the Los Angeles Clippers. Phoenix ain't going anywhere. We got the Los Angeles Clippers traveling down to Arizona, traveling to Phoenix to take on the Phoenix Suns. KD, can he take these guys to the next level? What do you got for me?
Yeah, I do think that he does. I think that it's going to be a good series. I mean, potentially in the beginning. I think that just because it's going to take a little bit, I think, for that team to get acclimated in the playoffs. Kevin Durant's never played a playoff game with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. It's a different style of basketball.
True.
But I do definitely think, obviously you got to give Kawhi his due. He's, he's won 2 different titles, 2 different teams. He was, obviously he spearheaded that, that championship in Toronto.
Yeah.
He was the main reason for that. I've always been a Kawhi fan. I think obviously he dropped a little bit off my radar with how he handled the whole Spurs situation, but obviously that's a personal thing. I don't know. But I always have been a fan of Kawhi Leonard. I just think that his game is very polished. I think that he's a very good shooter. I think that he's a very good defender, if not one of the best defenders we've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's a great rim protector, even at his length. And he also is very good in transition. So he is just a well-polished player, and I love Kawhi Leonard. Unfortunately, Paul George's status is unlikely. That's a big deal. Russ has been playing out of his mind with the Clippers. I think that it was the right change of scenery. I just don't think the Lakers was a good fit for him. Yeah. I think he's able to get out and do what he needs to do. And the pressure it's a big difference between playing on the Lakers and the Clippers.
True.
There's immediate pressure when you're playing on the Lakers.
True.
Immediate pressure when you're playing on the Knicks. Immediate pressure when you're playing on the Celtics. Different teams the media requires and different things. So good for him. He's come out of his shell a little bit. He's been playing well. But there's always a but. Phoenix has an NBA champion, 2-time NBA champion, Kevin Durant, team that, obviously, and then one of the best point guards of all time, and then one of the best young scorers in the game, in Devin Booker, and then DeAndre Ayton, very, very good rim protector, very good in the paint. They have, unfortunately, not the best bench, but they do have home court in this series, and two of the top best scorers in the league right now in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. So I am going to roll with the Phoenix Suns. I do think the Phoenix Suns handle business. I think, it comes out to a 1-1 series in the beginning, kind of shaky, but I do think that the Phoenix Suns do rattle off 3 straight wins. I do think they win this one 4-1. I am picking Phoenix advance to the next round. I got Phoenix in 5.
It's going to be very interesting. You know, what's funny is you have a team who has folded in the biggest moment, and then you have a player who, when he doesn't have Steph Curry, folds in the biggest moment. So you have a bunch of folders from what I'm seeing. What a series. What a series, and I am actually leaning the other way here. I'm actually leaning more towards the Clippers. I have to take into account what happened last year, which was Dallas absolutely embarrassing these guys, beating them by, I think it was 100 points in Game 7. And then we had Kevin Durant get swept like a mop on a wet floor against the Celtics. Granted, it was just him. Now, you put them all together, it's going to be very interesting. Like you said, playoff basketball is much different than regular season basketball. Was the amount of games that they had under their belt with each other, is that going to be enough to kind of solidify that chemistry? It's going to be very interesting. Those are some good points that you definitely bring up. One, Kevin Durant, you're right, 2-time champion, multiple-time MVP. That experience is definitely going to help him go in the playoffs and with this team. CP3, multiple playoff experience, multiple high-level games, multiple basically important game experiences. He has that. Devin Booker, gaining experience. How are they all going to gel? That is going to be the question, right? Kawhi Leonard has shown that he does not need much to get what he needs to do done. He doesn't need much. You basically just need to get him the ball and get out of his way. Now, he's going to be Kawhi of 2019. He's going to be Kawhi of 2013?
2014.
2014? Yeah. We don't know. We don't know. Because I sure as hell did not know he was going to be like that in 2019. Nobody saw that coming. Kawhi, like you said, is very polished, and if somehow this man wins a title on the LA Clippers, this dude, I'm sorry, he deserves to be in top 5, top 10 as one of the greatest players to ever touch basketball. Because that would be, he has now led 3 franchises, 2 titles.
Yep.
He would be a 3-time Finals MVP.
Right.
And in my opinion, he would be literally one of the most dominant players in playoff history. Like, if you have Kawhi on your team, man, oh man, you're sitting good. So we'll see what happens. Like you said, Russ playing out of his mind right now. We're getting kind of the Russ of old. He can actually shoot again. Playoff P. We'll see what happens with Paul George as the playoffs kind of go on. If the Clippers are able to get out of this first round against the Suns. Based on past history, and sometimes you got to use the past to predict the future, I'm going with the LA Clippers here in 6 games. I do think that Kawhi Leonard is able to shock the Phoenix Suns and actually handle business and upset them and send Phoenix home, send them packing, send them to Cancun, send them on the boat to fishing. So I like Phoenix. I like Phoenix. Don't think I don't like Phoenix. I like CP3. I like Devin Booker. I like that entire team. DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Durant is somewhat standable. I like Monty Williams. Great coach. Monty Williams is a great coach, and he definitely deserves success. However, I just don't think that the pieces that the Phoenix Suns have is going to be enough to beat the Clippers. And that's just hilarious to say because they have Kevin Durant, CP3, and Devin Booker. But I think that the LA Clippers get the job done in 6 games and upset the Phoenix Suns and move on to the second round. Our last series, we got the number 1 team in the Western Conference, and can you believe it? It is the Denver Nuggets. Handling business all season long. Starting to slip there at the end. They had a firm grasp on the number 1 seed by, I think it was 12 games at one point. Ended up with only a 2-game lead over Memphis at the end of the season. So they started to slip drastically there at the end. We'll see what happens. Getting lazy, getting tired. We know that they do not have the stamina. to make a long playoff run. We know that because they've never been able to do it before. So we will see what happens. This is going to be very new territory for the Denver Nuggets. A 1 seed, that comes with expectations. Your record, how you perform this season, that's going to come with expectations. Jokic leading your team to the number 1 seed, that is going to come with expectations. So Jamal Murray got to step up. Michael Porter Jr. got to step up. Aaron Gordon got to step up. All these guys have got to step up. And this is the time to show why they were the number 1 seed. We got the Denver Nuggets taking on either. It is too close to call. So we're gonna shrink it down this way. We got the Denver Nuggets taking on either the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Pelicans, or the Thunder. Thunder currently have a 3-point lead over the Pelicans. I do think that the Thunder are going to win this game. I don't think the Pelicans are going to be able to pull it out. So, are you going Pelicans or Thunder? Who were you picking before this game started?
Thunder.
Okay, so let's say that the Thunder do get the job done. Let's say that they don't choke, and let's say that
and to be honest with you, and this is my thing, I just have to say it. Zion Williamson, bust. I'm sorry, I have to, because I have people telling me, oh, he needs another year. No, that's a bunch of crap. This guy made the All-Star team over several people that I thought were, comparable to him and who were more available. Yeah. You should have to be available for a certain amount of games to get awards. Yeah. I'm sorry. Zion Williamson, absolute bust. You're letting your team down again because you can't maintain your weight. That is ridiculous. You cannot. You're an NBA athlete, okay? You know what is causing your injuries because they're all lower body injuries. Yeah. It is your weight. Yeah. You cannot bounce around that much and play. If you're a lineman, that makes sense to have that weight. Yeah. If you're, but you're supposed to be like a star forward. So Zion Williamson, get out of here, dude. I'm done. This year, it took me this year, at the end of this year now, when I'm seeing you on your plan, when your team needs you, and you're on the bench again, and you're getting max contracts, you're getting as much money as Jason Tatum. Yeah. You're getting as much money as Jason Tatum. You're going to get more money than Jason Tatum. Ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous. What do you, that's one, I'm sorry. What is your take on Zion Williamson?
I agree. Today, them reporting that he's missed 46 games. He hasn't played since January 2nd. And, this is where this thought came to me when I see that. As much crap as we give him, and we certainly definitely like to bust his chops, and we definitely like to rag on him, but it just goes to show how truly impressive LeBron James is. It just really goes to show a man who had all this hype, more hype than anybody ever in the NBA.
Yep.
And this man has been able to live up to every single ounce of that hype. He has exceeded every expectation that has ever been thrusted upon him. It's just something like that, because Zion Williamson was pegged to be the next LeBron James. He was pegged to be that guy, the next guy that the NBA can just glamour over, drool over for the next 20 years. He is not that.
He's gotten a cover. He was a cover athlete.
Exactly.
For the 2K. Guess who hasn't been a cover athlete, who went to the finals and has been available for 6 years straight?
Tatum. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I agree.
His contract last year, he's making more than Jason Tatum.
Sitting on the bench 46 games, making max contract money. If I were him, I wouldn't want to play either. And the Pelicans have the audacity to be like, well, no, it's not that he doesn't want to play. It's because he's not cleared to play. No, the dude just doesn't want to play. You're paying these trainers hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have some of the best medical staffs in the entire world working for you.
Best chefs.
Yeah. You mean to tell me you can't get this idiot and his stupid hamstring right? No. This is just like the Kawhi Leonard thing. At least Kawhi came out and said what was going on. At least he said, yeah, I don't want to play for this stupid team. The trainers mishandled me. I don't want to play for you guys. At least he was man enough to come out and say that. Zion's over here like, no, I want to make sure that my body looks good. I want to make sure that I'm not out there.
He's always sitting around smiling too. He's always sitting around smiling too.
Yeah. I would be smiling too, again, because I'm making max contract money by not doing my job. It's the epitome of the lesser generation.
Of working hard not to work.
Exactly. This dude is literally busting his ass to not do anything. And what's hilarious is when this dude is on the court, the Pelicans were in the 1 seed. They were the number 1 team in the Western Conference when this dude was playing. So I don't know whatever mental hoop this dude needs to get over. I don't know whatever Oreo cookie this dude needs to put down. But you have some of the most qualified doctors and trainers ever in the world. And guess what, Zion? You make enough money to go seek the greatest doctors and physicians and spiritual healers, medical healers, medicinal healers, whatever, natural healers, whatever the hell medicine you want to do. You make enough money, my friend, to have them literally flown out from wherever they're at, park their ass at your doorstep, and be your little servant that follows you around for however long your hamstring needs to heal. I definitely agree. Zion Williamson, total. It's not even a bust. He's just lazy. He's just lazy.
He's going to get a 5-year, $188 million contract.
He's just lazy. Yeah, he's just lazy.
And without the resigning of Jason Tatum, you are now making, for a year, even if it's for a year, more money than Jason Tatum, who's an all-NBA player, who may be an NBA champion after this year, maybe, who's available for 70-plus games every single season.
Yeah.
But Zion Williamson gets a 5-year, $188 million.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a bust because he is a great player when he's on the court. He's just lazy. He's just a lazy basketball player, and like you said, he is working.
For me, that's a bust draft pick, though. You wasted your number one.
You're right.
Pick.
He's the number one. You're right. A number 1 pick. In terms of a number 1 pick, definitely not living up to what you're supposed to do. Now, if we look back at the recent number 1 picks, he's pretty on par. I mean, Markelle Fultz, basically bust. You know, you have, who else? Zion Williamson, bust. You have basically, who else was the number 1 pick?
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, bust, right? He is following the trajectory of the number 1 picks.
Ant-Man's been solid.
Yeah, well, yes, true. Anthony Edwards has been solid, except for yesterday when he's not a bust. But Anthony Edwards had a horrible game yesterday.
He had a bad game yesterday.
Yeah.
But I still think, you know, all 30 NBA teams would take him if they had the opportunity.
I agree. I
wouldn't take Zion Williamson
That's
in
true.
his 5-year, $188 million contract. What's he going to do for my team? I got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. What's he going to do for your team? You got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You don't need Zion Williamson.
Yeah. You know, I agree.
You got to ride the bench.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean,
never seen somebody ride the bench 5 years, $188 million. Never seen a guy ride the bench as much as Zion Williamson does, and I had to get that off my chest. Literally, it is so irritating when your team needs you to be just sitting there laughing and smiling. I know you saw it with this hoodie on in the game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
46 games missed. But back to the business at hand because, now they're keeping it close. But the Thunder look like they're going to get the job done, sending the Zion-less Pelicans home, hopefully. It's letting some of those players be like, hey, Zion, how about you get your shit together, bro, because we freaking need you. How about that, buddy? How about that? Yeah. Thunder, Timberwolves. Timberwolves, man.
Me too. I got Timberwolves.
You're going Timberwolves, huh?
I got Timberwolves. I think that just being at home and, I think Ant has a better game and, I don't think that they're going to get. I think the Thunder are good, but they're not going to win 2 road games.
Man, oh man, I don't know. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna roll with Oklahoma City, man. I'm gonna roll with the Young Bucks. 20 average age for 22 years. I'm rolling with the kids. I don't like Minnesota. That is one team I don't like. I do like Anthony Edwards, that's for sure. Rudy Gobert, trash. Absolute trash. The fact that this man has 3 Defensive Players of the Year awards and Draymond Green only has 1 is an absolute crime.
I think Draymond's got 2.
No, he's got 1. Rudy Gobert has literally taken all 2. All 3 of basically Draymond's.
Draymond Green, I thought he got 2.
He's gotten 1, unfortunately, because Rudy Gobert.
Oh, he should have had 2.
Yeah, it is a crime. against the NBA.
Oh man, yeah, he should have had 2.
Yeah,
he
it's
only
a
had 1.
crime.
I agree with that.
Rudy Gobert punching his own teammate, like, oh my god,
And then running backwards.
I don't even want to get into it.
He punches and then he runs backwards.
And then JT McDaniels, what the hell are you doing, bro? What could have possibly made you that mad that you're going to punch a concrete wall? There's a pad there, idiot, but there's a concrete wall behind it. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, that's stupid.
So now the chemistry of that team is destroyed. I mean,
Right.
Kyle Anderson can probably come back in with Rudy Gobert. They can probably apologize. Not a chance does anybody like Rudy Gobert in that locker room. Not a chance. Not a chance. Cat needs to get off that team. He is wasting his talent. He is wasting his time. Loyalty is not going to get this man a single anything. Not going to give him an award. Not going to give him a championship.
Tell that to Dame Dollar.
Exactly. That's if Cat wants to look at a prime example, look at Damian Lillard. Cool. What did loyalty get you, Dame? What did it get you? You're indoctrined to the Portland Trailblazers? Cool. You were already indoctrined to the Portland Trailblazers long before. They loved you. They loved you long after LaMarcus Aldridge left them, high and dry. You were the guy. They will always love you. You could have gone somewhere 3 years ago, and the Portland Trailblazers still would have retired your number. Cat is falling into the same trap. The NBA, unfortunately, is a ring-chasing business. You need to chase rings to be relevant. In other sports, not necessarily. Some other sports, your talent outdoes what you do with your team. In basketball, you need rings to validate everything that you've done. And that's not obviously that is very silly, but that's reality. That's what the world has become. You're not validated in the NBA unless you do something. Win a championship, win an award, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, something.
It's the same thing in any sport. NFL, you're not relevant. The Niners, look, we hadn't won it. I'm just saying, we haven't won a championship. Bengals, we haven't won a championship.
But in the NFL, though, you as a player, though, you will, same thing with like Randy Moss. Randy Moss has never won a championship. Could easily consider one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He didn't need to win a championship. You know what I mean? In football, your talent sometimes outweighs what your team is not able to do.
As a quarterback, it's measured, though.
Quarterbacks for sure. Definitely. If there are some quarterbacks.
Compare quarterbacks to NBA players.
Dan Marino, right? Dan Marino would be talked about more frequently if he
won a Super Bowl.
If he won a Super Bowl. If Dan Marino won a Super Bowl, he would be in a lot more conversations than Dan Marino is in. And that's, you're right. Quarterbacks definitely held to a different standard.
So would Matt Ryan. So would Phillip Rivers. The list goes on.
Exactly. That's very true. Very true. But in basketball, it seems that, unless you do something, unless you win awards, win championships, do something, you could be the greatest player ever. No one is going to remember. Because that's not what people care about in basketball. They care about who is winning championships and who is winning awards. So there are a lot of players on a lot of teams that need to look within and understand that, yes, loyalty in the NBA is great, but it's not going to get you a damn thing. And I'm not saying go out and make a super team. I'm just saying you got to have a wake-up call sooner rather than later. I mean, look at Bradley Beal. We can do it in Washington. Washington hasn't finished over 500 in 20 years. So keep betting on yourself, guys. Keep betting on yourself. Keep have fun watching the NBA like us. I do think that the Timberwolves they're done. Timberwolves are done. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Pelicans, whoever wins this game, I think it's going to be the Thunder, though. I do think that the Thunder do beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. You got the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Who are you going with?
I got the Nuggets. I got the Nuggets 4 games to 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go Nuggets 4-1 as well against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think it's great experience for those guys. I think it does show that the Thunder are definitely a team to watch. They're getting picks with Chet next year, and then we'll see what happens the following year when LeBron comes into the draft. Oklahoma City Thunder, very, very, very interesting story, very interesting team to watch. We got a solid first round of playoffs, and man, oh man, did we cover a lot today. Man, oh man. But that's going to do it for this edition of Meat on the 50. Meat in the Key. Yes. This will do it. That'll do it for this edition of Meat in the Key. Join us. We'll be here all playoffs long, and it's just going to keep whittling down till it's finally 2 teams, and we will see who those teams are. But before we go, give me your quick finals preview quick finals preview. We'll save the other thing for the next episode. Quick finals preview.
Warriors Celtics.
And I will echo that sentiment. Yes, I do think that it's going to be the Warriors Celtics. We have both thought that since last season. I have said that is going to be the Warriors Celtics, and I do think that the Celtics do get the job done this time around. I think it's going to be a triple. I think it's going to be a three-peat. I do think that the Celtics and the Warriors are the 2 best teams. Well, I say that, and then the NBA goes and just destroys homegrown teams.
I would love to see Boston get it done this year, and then for us to have the trilogy, to have it next year too.
Yes, but at the same time, with the new NBA rules going into effect, and we'll talk about that at the end of the postseason because we're not there yet. But with the new NBA rules going into effect, it is going to be even harder now for homegrown teams, i.e. the Boston Celtics, i.e. the Golden State Warriors, to keep that team together with the new, luxury tax thing, and then with also the new salary cap penalty. The NBA really.
Fortunately for the Bay Area and for Boston, there's infinite amounts of money. So fortunately for our markets and not OKC, we'll be fine.
That is true, but we will definitely deep dive into all the new things coming to the NBA next season, but that's for future episodes because that is going to do it for our Round 1 Picks episode. Join us next week when we break down the opening of Round 1. Yes, Round 1 starts on Saturday, so we will be breaking down some of the action that has taken place so far, some of our thoughts, picks, analysis, stuff like that, and we will keep rolling along all playoffs long. Brandon, any last words for the people?
Super excited for playoffs. This is one of my favorite times of the year is springtime, NBA playoffs. There's games all the time. There's games every day, and it's. Each week it just keeps getting better and better because it's less and less teams until you get to the NBA Finals, and there's nothing like the NBA Finals.
Nothing like the NBA Finals, and we're going to get there. We are going to get there, and we want you to join us all playoffs long. So follow along with us. We're going to be breaking it all down. We're growing. Welcome to the Sports Guys. Welcome to Meat in the Key. We are happy that you have decided to join us on our newest journey. That'll do it for this edition of Meat in the Key. That is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. I am Jacob Cutler. And until next week, we got some round 1 of basketball to take place. Brandon and Jake, we're out.